Hello, beautiful people. It's Eileen, and I'm your host for today's conversation, where we're going to talk about the right tools for online business. Now, I'm going to be joined by my co host, Ray Ray, who I'll let Ray Ray tell you a little bit about herself once she joins. But just to kick things off, I want to tell you a little bit about me and my background and why we're talking about online business tools. Let me start with on the personal side of my little journey with online business. I work for a company, and I've actually worked for this company. We're a technical book publisher, and I've been with the company for 39 years. Yes. So, I love my job if I've been there for 39 years and I'm still happily employed. Okay. So, um, at this company, we have had a transition from being an more of a brick and mortar type of business into actually online. A lot of our business, a big bulk of our business is online sales of these technical books, publications, journals, and so forth. And so my co-host has arrived. So Ray Ray, I would love to hear from you and say hi.
Hello, and thank you so much for having the right tools for online business. Irene, I really appreciate it. And I thank you so much for practice makes you perfect. So it's almost like a practice for me. And we're just developing this whole thing on Twitter, because it's awesome to work together with people that are growing towards the future. And if this is on replay, I am Ray underscore brand. Thank you.
Well, Ray Ray, what I want you to do, I need you to do me a big favor. Wherever you are you sitting or standing?
I'm sitting.
Okay. So I want you to take one of your arms and sort of lean towards one of the other, one side, your left or your right. You pick.
Okay, Eileen.
I lean. That's how. That's how.
Sorry,
Every
Eileen.
time you see me, I want you, or you see me online, wherever you are, whether you're sitting or standing, I just want you to lean and then you'll remember. And I see our friend, um, uh, Dr. Smart is here. Hello, hello, hello. I just want to say hi to you. Okay, so I was giving a little bit of my background. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give a little bit more of my background. And then, Ray Ray, I want you to tell us a little bit about you. So, as I was saying, I work for a technical book publisher for 39 years. And so I have seen them go through the transformation of being, before the internet was even available to us regular people. I remember the day when they said, we're going to, everybody, we're going to get on the internet. And it was like a big deal. And so, because we sell technical books, everything was hard copy, everything was, um, at one point we did kind of get into the CDs, but now everything is online and you can still buy a hard copy book because we know there's some libraries and things that continue to want to have the book, but the bulk of our technical things are online. Now, that's just my day job. And my part-time life, which actually is full-time because I'm a mother, my daughter has a business that also had a similar transition, and it's a real estate related business, but it's a membership site. It's a training thing for real estate investors. So she's not a realtor or anything like that. But during the, COVID, she transitioned her business, which was mostly in-person meetings and events, and she left town, she went to the other side of the country. And so, just as a lot of businesses, everything became online. And so that's kind of my experience so far with online business and with the tools that I've been exposed to from both sides. And, of course, the stuff that I do for myself, but mainly for my day job, as well as my daughter, Nicole Purvey, who runs a real estate league here in Philadelphia that's called Better Than Success. So go ahead, Ray Ray, tell us a little about your experience and what made you suggest this topic for today's space.
Thanks, Eileen, so much. And I think it's, well, my background, I'm a native New Yorker. I live in Harlem. I was a businesswoman pursuing modeling. I've always been an entrepreneur because I'm dyslexic. And because of people not letting me work, I had to figure out things on my own since I was a teenage. But I've worked corporate before. I've worked. Actually, I used to work across the street from Trump Towers, actually, right next to the very famous jewelry house. It's called Winston's. And yeah, so, and I have two degrees. One is in graphic and one is in business. And the reason why I picked this topic in particular is because we all are going towards the future and things are changing so fast. So we have to know how to handle the new tools and get us moving in our business world. I'm Ray Ray.
Awesome, awesome. And I see Legion has joined. Thanks so much for joining. So let's get into it. Let's get into the conversation. And I just want you to know this conversation is really very informal and it's a discussion. And so we do want to hear from you about your experiences or any of these tools that you may have used, or if you have some that you'd like to suggest. And I do see that we have the Spaces Replies feature available there. So you can ask questions there as well if you're not able to speak. So I wanted to just put us in the frame of mind. When you have an online business, it could be one where you're actually selling products. Or you could be offering a service that fills a need for your customers or your clients. Like in my daughter's case, her members of her league and potential members, and so there's a bunch of tools that actually exist only online, but then there's also the offline that you have to consider as well. So the first thing that I want to talk about is about having a designated space, for your work, for you to do your work. And of course, you're gonna have to have reliable internet if you're doing an online business. So let's hear from you, Ray Ray. What do you think? Do you have a comfortable workspace or do you have a designated space? Are you always on the go? What's the deal?
Well, thank you for that question. I'm pretty much always on the go. That's why I say I'm Ray Ray in a hot pink Ferrari because I'm always on the go. I move a little fast. I have both comfort. I'm always comfortable no matter where I'm at. So it doesn't matter if I'm central to my apartment or if I'm outside on the go, as long as I know the mechanisms I have to create in order for me to get to it fast. It's all about speed for me. Speed is very important for me. Some people don't understand how fast things are working. Like Twitter, nobody knew it was going to change. So it's fast. It just happens really fast. So I tend to not always talk about how fast I am. But because I'm dyslexic, you have to do twice the work And because of that, I always have to have everything coordinated, very fine, like fine tune, I should say it that way. I'm always on top of my game. So
Well, for me, I'm working from home for my day job, and of course for everything else, and that came about. Um, it actually came about as a test that they were running at my day job. They just wanted to see if people could work from home a couple days a week, and at the same time, the where my office was actually a cubicle. Okay, where my cubicle was, they were remodeling the building, so it just so happened that at the same time that COVID outbreak happened was everybody that was on my floor was preparing to work from home. So I had already had, a new laptop assigned to me, and all of, my stuff was already packed up. We had already thrown out all of the old files that because we didn't know what kind of storage we were going to. So it just was a coincidence that COVID happened at that same, like the day that we were, going transitioning to work from home for what we thought might be 6 months. And so things worked so well that, they gave us all the choice. Now that a lot of people are back in the office, maybe they're only in the office for a few days out of the week, or you could be in the office every day if you wish, or you could work from home, which is what I chose to do. And so that meant that I have that designated workspace. So I actually have two workstations. I have the Mac, which is what I'm sitting in front of now. That's my own personal. But then for work, my day job, they gave me a Dell laptop and a nice Dell monitor that I use. And so those are very essential, I think. But I remember the day, let's go back a little bit, as when we're talking about internet and having a great internet connection. I've always been a customer of Verizon, and so that's what I use. And it used to be dial up and all that stuff, DSL. I remember the day when they came and installed Fios cable. I just so happened to be home from work that day because this is we're talking years ago, and I took pictures of the guy going up in the pole. I was super excited because I've been doing all this online stuff as far as blogging and all of that for years, and so I was really looking forward to the advanced speeds. And so that's where I am now with that. So that's something I think that no matter what, even like you said, you're on the go and all that, making sure that you have a reliable carrier. And even if you do have issues, to try to make sure that you're in a spot where you can connect with the satellite or whatever, because some people are in remote areas where they don't have that strong internet connection. So it does make things a little bit more difficult when you want to do an online business, but you may need to like go in town or uh, travel during certain designated times to an area where the internet works more reliably so that you can conduct your business. And then you, like I said, you may have to designate certain times, like, from 8 in the morning till 3 in the afternoon. I have to go to the library or the coffee shop or wherever it may be in order to conduct business. Okay, so the next thing I want to move
yeah,
on.
yeah. I
Yeah,
wanted
go
to
ahead.
say, my connection that I use is Verizon. No, not Verizon. I didn't use Verizon because, to be honest with you, Verizon in my area doesn't quite work like it doesn't give a steady screen. So I had to, because I've always had Max, and I had to change. So I only have Time Warner's because the cables were more direct. It's just a faster connection. And for my internet for on the go, I use T-Mobile.
Awesome, awesome. And now I use AT&T. I've never I'm one of those people that's like very loyal and faithful. So I've never strayed away from Verizon, and I've never strayed away from AT&T. And T. And I've had success. I'm pretty fortunate with both of them. And because I live in a major city, I live in Philadelphia. So, um, pretty much Verizon has the coverage, the Fios coverage, just about throughout the city, as far as I know. And
Well,
AT&T.
they don't. I don't know. Maybe they updated certain things for you, but I had the problem every month. My computer would recode, like it recodes itself, because I think you got to do an update every month with with the Mac, and the Verizon would throw it off. So that's why I didn't choose this. So it doesn't work for me. It just really didn't. Or maybe I just didn't connect it the right way. And there's these tools that I think are very important besides just only internet. I think there's tools that are online too that you have to connect with, as in, like, I use certain tools that are just for people that are dyslexic. I use Alter is one that I use, and then I have another one also that I use, and it makes it easier for me to work with the paragraphs and stuff like that. Those are some of the tools. So most of the tools I use is basically for paragraphs and spelling fast to make me spell faster. And I also, what I do for tools for my brain, I play puzzles every day. I play word puzzles every day so that it helps me to remember, because basically the way it sounds and the way I see it is totally different, and I'm not having a battle with my mind. So the more with me as being dyslexic, the more I see it and the more I deal with it every day, the more it locks in, and then sometimes it doesn't. So those are some of the tools I use. I use Otter, and I couldn't get the name of this other one that does paragraphs, and they do them for all languages too.
So, are you talking about OTTER? Is that the
Otter,
Otter?
Otter,
Oh,
yeah,
all
yeah.
right. Yeah. So I just wanted to make sure that that's what you meant. Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing those tools. Awesome. Very good. Very good. So the next thing now, I have this list here, but it is not in chronological order or order of importance or anything like that. It was just the ideas that I thought that we might want to talk about. And so next, I think that is very critical for the success of an online business, which is email. Having a good email service provider and a great way to build your list, because that's how you're going to remind your customers, clients, members. I'll just use the word customers. Okay. That's how you're going to remind them about sales you have going on, or a new product that you just launched, or remember to log in and check your trainings, or remember that you have an appointment coming up, and we'll talk about appointments and all that in a bit too. So yeah, email. I use Aweber. At work, we use something called Act On. And my daughter, she uses Active Campaign. I don't know why, it's just a coincidence. They all start with A, but but yeah, and Aweber, and the reason why I want to mention and I want to give them a shout out, because Aweber is also, and I'm also an affiliate for them as well. But Aweber also is providing a way for people who were using Review, which was acquired by Twitter but is going away. So Aweber has a way that you can easily transfer, and they will do it for you, your Review subscribers over to Aweber. And Aweber does have a free plan. I know a lot of people don't think that, but they do have a free plan as well. So yes, email is super important. Ray, is there any other things that you think about when you think about an email, and how's that work for you in your business?
Well, for me, I have three different ways to communicate that way, but I use Mailchimp because it's free, and I don't have like over 1,000 customers yet. So once I get more customers, then I will branch out. I was working with another one, Active Campaign. I didn't really like it. It was too it was too glitchy like in a way for me and how I think. If it's not for me with email marketing, if it's not smooth, I'm not going to do it. If I have to always go doing that, it would just knock me out so many times. I couldn't train myself on it, so I was like, that's not really good, and I was paying for it. I didn't even barely use it. I paid for it like 2 years and I barely used it. And I kept getting training and I was like, Ray, this is not working. So I had to get off. And now I'm working with an assistant. She's in the Philippines and she does most of it, but I just do whatever she works with to so it's a cohesiveness and it's faster. So, like I said to you before, everything with me and how I think about business is speed. I don't think and that's what I admire about Gary Vaynerchuk. He's all about speed. Even if you get clunky, you make a mistake, it's all about just getting it done. Stop worrying about if you have makeup on, if you don't, just keep going, and I'm used to being around that kind of mindset. And then I have Google. I have one thing you didn't mention, Eileen, is that the thing I think is very important that you always have a Google telephone because it just in case if you're online and you can't afford to have certain things to protect you. I think two important tools are having a Google telephone number for your website or any site you have or a blog. I think that's important. And I think having a P.O. box is very important. I think you should not directly have things coming to your house because it's not personable and you just never know when you get a crazy client.
Oh, wow. That is wonderful. I love, love, love those two tools. And I actually have both of them. The Google phone number, I've had that for years, and it's like on my website. And, people can leave voicemails as well as they can send texts to that number. Because, when they see the number, they don't know whether it's just for voice, so a lot of times I will get a text through that number as well. And the P.O. box, I can't tell you the last time I went and checked on my P.O. box, but I do have one. And it's good to have because, like you said, you don't want people always knowing where you live, your street address and all that. But I also, because my daughter does have the brick and mortar location, so I also use her address in some places as well. Because if I really know that I need to get something mailed or something like that. And so, oh, that brings me to another point. I'm kind of jumping around, but one of the things that I decided to do this year was to get an LLC. So we're talking about business, and even though most of my online stuff is pretty much like a hobby, but I decided that I wanted to get the LLC. And when you get an LLC, you can use a P.O. box. You need to have a street address. They need to verify who you are and where to find you. Now, you can buy something called a virtual P.O. box. So you can rent one from, they have these companies that actually do have the physical location and they rent you a spot, so, and they call it a virtual address. And so you can do that as well. And um, I don't think they're that affordable, though. For someone who's just starting out, if you don't have that much of a budget, that's probably not the way that you want to go. But the PO box, even the PO box, is like I think I pay about 120 a year for this little small PO box that I have here at my local post office. And so, yeah, that's an expense that you definitely need to factor in.
Yeah, I'm at S corp. So I'm a corp on my own. So my corporation's name is Ray Ray Star, INC.
Awesome.
Yeah, I did that a long time ago with the tax guy, but it's hard to manage it, to be honest with you. But I guess I'm doing pretty good. I don't know. So I just wanted to know, Dr. What kind of stuff do you use? And Heather, what kind of tools do you use going towards PO boxes and stuff like that, or do you have one?
Well, while we're waiting, because I'm not sure if they, oh, there is a request there. I'm going to say that's probably DR. Yep, it sure is. Hello.
Hey, great space, great information. Yeah, what I've been like the PO box is a really great idea, I think, for especially when you're doing business on like Twitter or any other social media, um, especially because you're doing business with people that you really don't know. And yes, I have a PO box because I do commerce where I ship planners and notebooks and things like that off my website. So yeah, I do the PO box kind of for when I'm sending it off.
Oh, I am so glad you mentioned that because that's going to segue nicely into my next area, and that is the fact of you need to have a website or a blog or some type of a storefront, right? You can't say that you have an online business if you don't have like a place, a home on the internet, right? So, and I know when you're just starting off, you may think, oh my God, a website, I got to pay a designer. No, there's all very affordable things that you can do, and there's even free things that you can do. But you need to have that, like that storefront, in order for the payment processing. So, if you're in business, to make money, right? There's got to be a way for people to get that money out of their wallets or pockets and into yours. So you need some type of payment processing platform. So, for example, because my daughter, she uses WordPress, so she's using WooCommerce. But then there's also Shopify. A lot of folks use. They're just PayPal and Venmo and all the other like Cash App and those kinds of things as well. Oh, or if you're someone like you mentioned, Smart, that you have journals and things, you could also use Amazon for that. So it's any kind of payment gateway, so to speak. Stripe is another one. Um, yeah, how does it work for you, Dr.?
Yeah, so I have two forms. So I have, like you said, the Amazon. So I have Amazon for my book and for my notebooks and things like that. I do the website, and for there, I try to, like you said, try to draw people to it. Where, like you said, if you're trusting kind of these social media platforms, I think Ray Ray said it earlier that things change so quickly, and so I try to drive people there for getting the email addresses and being able to connect with people that way. So I try to offer um, like signed books, or I try to offer deals to go to the website. But yeah, Amazon I use because that's usually where people are looking for things.
You know what? This is a good time for me to ask you to just go ahead and give us a shout out about, or give yourself a shout out, I should say, about, what it is that you do and where people can connect with you. I don't want to wait till the end to do that because you might have to go.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, so DR Smart, my business, 25/8 Media Publications. So I have business planners. I call it the life and business plan because we all have life and we have our business, especially small businesses, and we got so many things. So I created a planner, and different notebooks and things like that for people. So, and then I have my novel out from the ashes-tuskegee.com, and that's what the website is called, from the ashes of Tuskegee.com, where I have blogs and I have different products and things there that I try to connect with customers.
Yeah, feel free to go ahead and pin that up into the nest so we'll have it, and then I can make sure that, it gets shared. And Ray, let's talk about you and what your payment gateway is, and your website and all that.
Well, my website is down, but my hat site is up. It's Woe That Hat. That's WOOTHAT hat.com is where I'm selling hats. I'm a hat designer. And like I said in the beginning of this recording, my trade is more designing, but I'm also into business because I'm very good at selling. When I learned how to sell, I was on Fifth Avenue and I was in the top 10 of the salespeople. And I've always paid my way to school. I don't owe any loans and stuff like that. So that's one of my businesses. And then I'm working on helping people to get over their shyness. And that's called You Go 3C, and that's coming up soon, and it's going to be Zoom meetings. And that website is not open just yet. And then I'm working on something with style. I'm going to do my YouTube channel, and it's going to be all about people that wear hats, and the subject about hats and how people decide to wear their hat and why they wear hats. And then I have something also coming up with style. And the Audrey Small, she's 85 years old, and she was an MC for a fashion fair. And she worked with Don Johnson and John Johnson. She worked with him, and she's fabulous. So I have her on recording. I'm doing it. I'm going to start my YouTube channel with, it's called Whoa That Style, and that's WHOA and then style. And I'm working on that one. So I'm always busy working on a lot. And I'm also busy on Health is Wealth, and I'm up to day 75. And I'm sorry, week 75, and I'm also up to day 7. Today is 7, so tomorrow it starts week 76.
Wow, that is a lot. Yeah, that's wonderful. So, as far as on your hat, wothathat.com, what's your payment processing platform on that site? So, if somebody sees a hat and they want to
Okay,
buy.
so instead of Shopify, I have one that's called Ecwid, and I use them. And I have PayPal. I used to do Stripe, but what do I have? I forgot. I have my systems. I have like 4 systems they could pay into. So because you got to make sure everything is overseas, people could buy all over the world. So I made sure I hooked up something like that. And then I'm getting ready to actually add something for payment plans. So that's where I'm moving towards. So just in case if people can't afford it, they could pay it off as they go along. A long time ago they used to call it layaway. So I'm going to start layaway on my adding that on my shop, and that's how you could pay. So I have PayPal. I think it's Square. I have PayPal, Square, and Cash App. However people want to pay, I have 4 different ways they can pay, and then I'm adding a 5, which I said is like going to be layaway. But
I like that.
and a thing about, and not to cut you off, Eileen, not
Mhm.
Irene, Eileen.
That works.
Um, I wanted to say that that's what being dyslexic is all about. I could do more than most other people cannot do. They just could never. It's almost like, I don't know. It's like a walking machine. Some people say to slow down, but I have to always be with the people that always think that it's okay if you do a lot. You're gonna fumble. Creativity is fumbling until you mold it into shape.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, and so that is great that you have those different options there for people to be able to, put that money, take that money out of their accounts and transfer it over into yours. I love that. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I always do. You got to give people, because you never know. Some people can afford it. some people have to put layaway, so you just give them the option. I always think you have to, they always say when you're selling things, always have three different price points. So for the poor guy, you give something, then you have another for the medium price, and then for the people that just want to go in, you have a price for them too. So I always think you have to think three different ways, because there's that kind of customer. And some people feel that they should just stay at one price. I don't believe that. I think everybody deserves a piece of you. And that's why they got so many tools. So, like, if you can't afford a Nike shirt, maybe you could get a Nike patch, or maybe, you just got to leave it open like that.
Awesome. Yeah. My daughter does that really well with her business because, as I mentioned, she has the memberships for those real estate investors that are committed and they will pay monthly. But then she also has these different courses that for there's a webinar that she's been doing that's about how to invest remotely and doing 6 deals in 6 months, it's called. And that's just a one-off webinar that she's absolutely been crushing it on because people know that she's been doing this remote investing for the last 2 years now, and she's very successful with it. And so they may not be able to make that commitment of paying that money once a month, but they just want to, get in there in that class. And then she's also got a construction management class that she runs with one of her colleagues, who's actually like one of her best friends. And so having those different levels of, so that someone can come in who may not have the income, or maybe they're just testing you out. Maybe they're just like, I see this girl Ray Ray, and I think she probably has some good stuff, but I'm just not ready to make the big purchase with her yet. I'll just get a little taste of what she has to offer. And, and that's how it starts. And it may be the same way for you. I'm just calling you DR, but I always call you smart. Smart. It may be the same way for you. Someone says, I'll get a notebook, before I go and invest in some of his bigger offerings for, a book. So, yeah, awesome. Thanks. Thanks. This is great. Okay, so the next tool that I want us to talk about is some kind of a landing page. Now, I know Ray Ray, you mentioned that you have MailChimp, so they offer landing pages. I use Aweber. They offer landing pages. And I also mentioned Active Campaign and Act On, and they all offer these landing pages. But also, you may think about ClickFunnels, which is a very popular, that's known for conversions and has a reputation for just having a landing page. And some people have these landing pages and they don't even have a website. Now, I'm not a fan. I'm not saying that that's what you should do, but you can do that. And there may be something that you do for, like Ray Ray, you listed about 4 or 5 different business opportunities that you're involved in right now. Some of them may not need a website. They may just be fine with just having a landing page for somebody to go through and to just, find out about your Zoom meetings or your hats, whatever the case may be. And so I love the fact that we have these different options. The other one that's really popular and somewhat controversial. I think people give this a bad rep, and it's Linktree. Linktree is very popular, and I think the popularity grew from uh, Instagram because of the fact that you only have that one link there. And then like I said, there's a lot of people who are, just getting started with online business, and they just want to have that landing page that they can send people to. But now, because LinkedIn, Linktree's been around for so long, People are used to it. And they're used to seeing that format of, hey, there's a link in bio, even on Twitter. It's not just necessarily on Instagram anymore, right? And they see that format of the way Linktree is set up, and they know when they see that Linktree link, they're going to go over there and there's going to be something they can click on, something else they can click on, something else, and so they're used to it. And it has a really high conversion rate. I was listening to an interview with the person who's the CEO of Linktree, and he was talking about their high conversion rates that they have. And that's one of the things I know some people say, why even use Linktree? Just set it up on your website. Because you got to, in my opinion, you also want where your audience is, you want to give them something that they're familiar with. A lot of people just like, I don't want to go to your website. That just sounds like I might get lost on your website. It sounds old school. Linktree or link in bio, because it doesn't have to be Linktree. It could be Koji. It could be whatever, is something that's like, hey, that's what's happening now, And so people get attracted to that kind of stuff. So any experience with the landing pages or your link trees that you want to talk about?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Eileen. I think that we use, I always call we, so with Team Ray Ray, my company is Team Ray Ray. So we use Google Forms, and then she connects them to the link to my website. Or, I mean, we can do it a lot of ways, but because she already started that way, I just leave it that way. So you go 3-2. I have a signed up letter. It's like a landing page, but it's the Google form. It's a Google form, is what they call it. And then for my hats, and then I'm coming out with a hat book. We have all of that already listed. So like, get ready. I'm getting ready to send out a newsletter tomorrow to my people that are signed up for 3Cs, because I can only take on like 10 people for now, because it's my first time doing any kind of training with Zoom. So, and basically, it's going to be kind of like building confidence. It's just really all about helping people to get over that edge, because a lot of people don't know how intense it is to be shy. And I do. I was a very shy girl, very, very shy girl. So, and I had to grow out of it. And it took me a while, but I did. I used to be tied tongue. I was buck teeth. I have a story to tell, trust me. And I didn't really have a lot of friends, because I didn't really get along with them that well. And the reason why I didn't, because I was always very different at the age of 5. So my mother could see it, and she would just support it. She wouldn't make me feel awkward. She was like, just play by yourself. She wouldn't make it like, she never made a hoopla of nothing, my mother. She was always like, you have to independently be yourself, and that's who I am. So sometime with me, I come across very strong and firm, because I come from that foundation. So I don't come from a mother that say, don't try it. She would say, I might not try it, but why not you try it? Because it's you, it's your personality. You know what I mean? As long as it was safe things you were doing. But I thought I was going to be a scientist. I used to make bombs. I was a crazy kid, but I wasn't the type of girl that played with doll babies. I doll babies, to be honest with you, they scared me in a way, because I was like, that thing is like, I don't know, I just didn't like the plastic thing like that. So for me, that's what I use the Google Forms, and we do that on each intimate each level. So we're getting ready to change stuff around on my website. I'm basically going to open it up, but I do public speaking also. And I guess you call it, I forgot what they call it in Toastmasters, but I've done I got this award saying I'm a communication speaker, so I'm pretty good, and I love speaking, and I go to the Abyssinian Baptist Church, and that's one thing I admire about the Abyssinian Baptist Church. Everybody has to public speak. They do not take an exception to the rule, and I love that. So, those are some of the things I'm working on, and that's the format I use, Eileen.
Oh, I love, love, love those stories. I love that you have that support from your mom, and I know how important that is. And, and it does help with building your foundation. And, that's something that, oh, we talked about online business, but any business and just in life in general, having a support system. You mentioned your mom. Of course, I work with my daughter. My parents are deceased, rest in peace, but they were very supportive as well. My dad was the first person I ever knew that had a computer, and which was super cool. That of all the people to have a computer was my father. And so having that foundation, but not just, your parents and at home, but when we're talking about online business, you still need the team. And you mentioned earlier about your VA. Yes, having a team is super important, and having a support network is important. Like, even you and I, this is our second time doing a space together, and it's just something that we know that we can count on each other. Like, I wasn't even concerned that May Ray might not show up, or, is being able to have that stability there, that helps lift you up, that helps build you up. And like you said, build your confidence. And I'm glad you're doing this class for others who might be suffering from that lack of confidence. And so, yeah, I really appreciate you for that. So thank you so much for saying all of that.
Yeah, thank you for it's like the Wild West online in a way, so it's funny that we don't know what's going to happen, but the joy of it all is just to having people like you, Eileen, and DR, um uh do stuff that are outside the box, because sometimes I'm not always comfortable with doing it, but I just keep going because there's something in me that's ornate, that just says maybe I might not know them personally, but I know they're responsible. They show up like me. You get the room going, regardless of who shows up, you just keep going because that is life. You just never know when your time is going to clock out. You just don't know, and you don't know. And I also always believe this, Irene, that Eileen, I'm sorry, Eileen, I'll get it, Eileen. So I just always think that you know, it's a strange world we live in now. We have to always be on top of our game. You could barely even try to drink alcohol because you'll fall out of step in 2 seconds. You know what I mean? You can't have like always a cocktail every day. It's not like the old days. When they were doing business. But some people do, some people don't. But the beauty of moving along, you just never know who you're gonna meet. You just got to keep going. And that's one thing that's different between me and my other brothers and sisters. I keep going and I don't slow down because life is not promised to you. And don't take it for granted. Don't take nothing or no one for granted. You just got to believe it. And they say faith is blind for a reason, because you got to trust God.
All right, all right. I love it. I love it. And so, in talking about teams and having support, you have to think about, like, how do you coordinate and collaborate with your team. Now, if you have just a small team, you could probably just go back and forth via text or via email, and that's it. Like, I know with a VA, then that's all you need to do. But once you start adding more people onto teams and you start having different projects and long range projects, then you want to use a tool where you can track that progress as well as assign tasks to different individuals. And so for the collaboration tools that I want to mention, that some of them are pretty familiar. And these are ones that I've used with my daughter, Trello, and Wrike. I'm going to give a shout out to Wrike, Wrike, is the new tool that she has decided on. But Trello was really a good one. And as far as my day job, we use Microsoft Office, and with the Teams, Microsoft Teams is really a cool tool to use, and easy to track and record meetings and keep up to date with all the different goings ons. And if somebody misses the meeting, that recording could be there, and you can ping people into the meeting, because even though most of us are working from home or whatever, you be right there, you can get that ping, and you don't have to worry about texting people and having all these different phone numbers. So, yeah, what kind of tools? I'll ask you, Smart. Are you using? I'm not sure if you have a team or if you have a VA, or just tell us your experience, or what you've heard.
Yeah, so I have like a strategist that I work with, and we'll like I'll show her different like graphics I'll do like on I usually use like Canva, and there's a option where you create the team so you can share images, and if she thinks of something she'll share it with me. So mainly that's what I use, and then everything else is kind of just we'll go Google, or yeah, we'll either go Teams or talk off of Google for strategy.
Yeah, yeah. What about you, Ray Ray?
Well, I'm thinking about using for my class. I'm going to do Zoom, and I'm not really sure. I had an interview on. Let me see if I can pull it up. Yesterday, I had an interview on a podcast, and he used, I think, Yard Screen is called. Let me just double
It,
check it.
it's StreamYard, and I'm an advocate for StreamYard. I'm one of
Why
their.
did you choose it over Zoom though? I'm curious.
Okay. Zoom is for when you want to have meetings that are not um, on a social platform. StreamYard started as a live streaming platform that was just for Facebook and YouTube. Okay. But now they also, and oh, here my friend Fraser Ramsey's here. Hi, Fraser. And so now you can even have private meetings. You don't have to go live. So, um, you mentioned that you had an interview. I'm not sure if they went live or not, but that's just the evolution of the product. I started with it when it was just a tool to go live on Facebook and or YouTube, but now you can go live anywhere, LinkedIn, Twitter, all kinds of destinations. You can go live on Amazon, and I've used it for all those things. Like I said, I am a huge advocate for StreamYard and have been with them since the very beginning. The one of the founders reached out to me because he saw my tutorials on YouTube and asked me if I wanted to take a look at StreamYard. And it's, you may think, wow, their StreamYard is such a huge company now. In fact, they were acquired by another uh, meeting platform or online conferencing platform called Hopin, and they were acquired for like $500 million. So, but Gage still remembers, because they just recently celebrated their 200th episode of their town hall. And my name was one of the first names he mentioned when he was talking about how they started off. And so I was super duper proud of, that of course, I know he remembered, but it's still nice to get that shout out. And because now he's working with Nick Nimmin, Roberto Blake, a lot of Sean Cannell, a lot of the YouTubers that are considered as gurus. So yeah, um, I've never really been a fan of Zoom. A lot of people use it. My daughter uses it for some of her stuff, but she also uses StreamYard. So, um, my daughter has many, many events every week. There's like 6 or 7 events every week. They do what they call she'll do a news brief, like she'll be live tomorrow on Mondays. She does a brief where she goes over the, the news of what's happening in the economy and the housing markets and all that, and how it impacts investors. And then on Tuesdays, they have these where they're looking at deals and analyzing deals to see if people should buy things. And, so every week, and just about every day, I think Sunday's the only day they don't have a meeting, so she's either on StreamYard or she's on Zoom. So the bottom line, to answer your question, is for two different purposes. Zoom is when even though Zoom will allow you to go live on YouTube and Facebook as well, but if you don't want to, and most people don't, most people when they're using Zoom, because Zoom really compresses your video, then you would just use Zoom. It's like a meeting, like I was talking about Microsoft Teams earlier. You're not going live to the public. You're just meeting with an individual or a group. So hopefully that I think
Yeah,
that
I didn't decide which way I'm gonna go with my class yet. I just didn't decide yet. I'm not gonna start any class until the beginning of maybe the first week of January. I have a lot of stuff I'm working on because I think it would be better if people learn how to, build your confidence because we've all been through a lot. So that's when I'm going to be able to make people feel more comfortable because it's going to be a new year. It's a scary time we live in, especially with like I mean this whole Twitter space it's ridiculous. And I was talking to someone and he just basically said he basically is like he doesn't even want to speak. He doesn't even want to speak about how he feels on Twitter. He doesn't want to, and I'm not even going to say his name, but it's very challenging. I was listening to NPR yesterday, and it was this journalist, and she said she is not. She said it's a black Twitter, and she said she's not getting off. She says she's not, and that's the whole thing. You just don't know, but that's why I'm saying you got to always show up because you don't know what's going to happen. Never. You can never know. So it's very important that we do that all the time for one another because it's a small community, and it's not a matter of even white or black. It's a small community. Twitter group is not that big. It's not. People think it is, and Elon could talk all he wants, but it's not as big as other platforms. It's not as big as YouTube. No. And that's what he said. He said that he's the reason why you're paying. I heard an interview on YouTube, and he was saying the reason why he's charging the $8 is because he wants to start putting live videos and he wants to be able to pay for that. But the thing that I say, people say it's free, but it's really actually not free because you're giving data away. If you pay, you're still giving data away. So you're paying for them to use you, basically.
absolutely, absolutely. And I see you there, DR. But I do want to give my friend Fraser, who's all the way from Edinburgh, Scotland. Fraser Ramsey, please unmute yourself and say hello and tell
How's
everybody
it
about.
going? Yeah, just on the topic of Zoom and StreamYard, I use StreamYard, but I think Zoom is used more for the masses. You can sort of have a lot of people on a Zoom call. Personally, I find Zoom, I think like Irene said, that it suppresses the audios. Maybe the quality is not as good, depending on what you're using it for. StreamYard, I find personally, has a better audio quality when you're doing. I use it for podcasting, so That's why I use it. So I think if you're teaching a class or teaching something, it all depends how big the class is. So if you've got maybe 10, maybe, I don't know, if you StreamYard can go, if you go to the Pro, you can get probably, I'm guessing you could probably do more, but the medium sort of package is $20 a month or whatever it is, 25. That is you get about 10 people on a Zoom on a StreamYard call, which is not bad, and it's sort of, I think sometimes less is more, so you get more quality rather than quantity when you're doing a class. I think there's a lot of these networking classes or things and there are quite a lot of people, and you don't quite get round to everybody as they should do. So in the time scale, so it can be a bit the quality is not there, and it kind of, yeah, you can connect with people out with, but it's kind of a, yeah, hit or miss really. But that's my experience. StreamYard, I think, is probably the better way because you get the better audio, and yeah, you obviously the more you upgrade or whatever, you can go to more platforms and things like that. So, but I think either Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn's a good one because it's a good way of attracting business people because it's obviously a different audience. But anyway, that's my suggestion. There we go.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So Smart, you wanted to say something earlier.
He actually.
Oh, you kind of your audio broke up a little. Try again.
Sorry, I got a call came in. You hear me now?
Oh,
Can you hear me? Okay.
yes, I can
No,
hear you.
he actually answered my question. I was going to ask, like the quality of the audio, and then I was going to ask, like, is it pretty good for like if you're doing like presentations? So it sounds like that's a good one to use.
Absolutely. And I'm going to put a link. I'll tweet it out, but it's eileen.link/StreamYard. If you want to check out the pro features, you get a free limited time with the pro features, but you can use StreamYard free forever. So it's eileen.link/StreamYard. Love, love, love StreamYard. So there you have it. So wow, it's been an hour, and there's always so much more that we could say about online business, and we knew that before we even started this that there was no way we're going to touch on all the tools that we need to have for our online business. But I do want to give everybody the opportunity to, just say a little bit more about where people can get in touch with you. Fraser, I'll start with you. Tell everybody where they can listen to your podcast before we close.
My podcast is my last name Ramsey or Unleashed. You can listen to obviously standard platforms as iTunes. You can watch some of the videos I've done via StreamYard actually on YouTube as well. It's Ramsey Unleashed. But yeah, so mainly iTunes, Spotify kind of thing. Just Google Ramsey Unleashed, my last name, and you'll find me. And especially on YouTube, you can watch some of the interviews that I've done as well. So you can see what I do. I use StreamYard to multi-stream that as basically. So this gives you an idea. But yeah, I'm in Edinburgh, Scotland. I'm always my main entrepreneur daily, but I run a cleaning business. But I'm happy to chat business with people and podcast stuff or whatever. Happy to just help. That's the main thing. What it's about, helping people in business and making the world a smaller place.
Yeah, and in case you didn't catch that, Fraser has an online and an offline business. He has a cleaning business. So if anybody's listening and they're over in Scotland and they're in Edinburgh or in the Edinburgh area and you need anything cleaned, give Fraser a call, or Edinburgh Dusters is the website. I want to make sure I put that out there. And we thank you so much, Fraser. I always appreciate you for always showing up, supporting, and giving your feedback because you have such a wealth of knowledge. And so, Smart, I know you mentioned it earlier, but let's just hear it one more time where people can find you, or if you have any upcoming spaces, let us know about that as well.
Yeah, so I'm glad you said that. Yeah, me and Ray tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be doing building your confidence while building your book plan part 3. So if anyone's listening, we're here trying to help people be able to promote their way to their book, but find their confidence, their voice. And you can always find me from the ashestoskey.com. You can leave me a message there and I'll respond. And if you have any questions, just give me a holler there.
Wonderful, wonderful. I didn't know you guys were doing that. Thank you so much. Okay, Ray Ray, let us have it.
Okay, I am Ray Ray Jeans, and my site is Ray Ray Star. RayRayStar.com. I'm an entrepreneur, so it sounds like I'm all over the place, but I'm always organized, very focused, and very keen. You can shout me out, or you can tag me on Instagram at Ray Ray Jinx, and it's Ray Ray. And then it's the headline is Ray Ray Star INC on Instagram, and I'm Ray Ray Jinx. And thank you so much, Eileen, for doing this and having me to speak. And practice makes you perfect for all of us. Thank you.
Oh, wow. It's been my pleasure. I love having this conversation. And maybe we can do another one because I'll just tell you the things that I still have on my list that we didn't talk about. We didn't talk about the artificial intelligence tools like Jasper and TubeBuddy. And we didn't really talk about booking calendars like DaySlice and Calendly. And we also did not get a chance to cover event software like Eventbrite and Meetup and Eventry. And so I'm just going to stop it there because there's a whole lot of stuff that we didn't cover. But I
Yeah,
think
but we could do like me and DR. We do part 1, part 2. Maybe we could do part 2, and maybe you could bring the guy from Yardstream on and have a whole different thing, and tell people why they should use his tool because you're an affiliated marketer for him. So that would be great too. So if you want to go that way, we could just do just audio and video stuff. If you want to do part 2, I'll let you decide. I'm flexible, so it's easy for me. That's a part of being dyslexic. Okay.
yeah, so next month. Now I don't know that we could get Gage from StreamYard. And so this is like I gave you that way to remember Eileen. And you did very good. You only called me Irene once, but
Yeah,
Stream,
but I'm not saying he has to come, but maybe
yeah,
he could send somebody to represent
he,
him.
he's got
I'm sure he has an assistant, and we could just book it now. Maybe you could contact him tomorrow. Maybe he could start in January. Who
We'll,
knows?
we'll That's right. And somebody from the team could come on, but if not, it's okay because we got me and I know StreamYard like the back of my hand. So but yeah, just think of a stream because it's a live stream. It's a live streaming. So then that's where stream comes first and then yard. Because the hashtag is hashtag the yard. But it's stream yard. And there's a couple of other live streaming platforms that I love to use. And so that could be another topic that we could cover. But I will give my friends at Ecamm Live a shout out because I don't ever go live without Ecamm Live because they are my virtual camera. I know that's a whole nother topic. We're not going to discuss it today, but I want to thank each and every one of you. For those of you who are here, those of you who listened live, those of you who will hear my voice in the replay, this has been your girl, Miss Eileen, and my lovely co host, Ray Ray. And thank you so much for coming out. We will see you all again very soon. Thanks so much. Stay.
Stay awesome. Have a great week, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Later.